Hi there, I have a question for you. Do you believe that there's certain careers, like as an artist, as a writer, as a musician, that they should be just considered as hobby, or do you believe that everyone should think about them as a career? The reason I ask is, hi, my name is Carol Beauvais, and welcome to Artful Freedom. And my thought today is, we were at the University of Concordia for an open house this weekend, which was wonderful. My daughter got a lot of it. She wants to go for the fall of 2025. And one of the interesting conversations that we had was someone that had done their master's degree in creative writing, but he wasn't in the English department. He was somewhere else in another department, encouraging to take online courses for some people that wanted to have more, just to let us know there's some flexibility. Certain things can go on in person and certain things online. And in our conversation, we had a wonderful conversation. He was a very interesting, enthusiastic, happy person to be there. And we had a beautiful conversation, found us, we all actually came from the same area where we live right now. And one of the conversation was like, I asked him, so what do you do now that you did your master's degree in creative writing? And he goes, ha 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 ha. Well, none of us really, this is a hobby. None of us really make a career out of creative writing. So he said, ah ha 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 ha. This most of us that go in creative field, it becomes a hobby. None of us really make that much money and make a career out of it, which I found it so interesting. It's so interesting that people will spend quite a few, like it's a lot of money to go to university. And then we have people really with that mindset. And I went, wow, that's really interesting. And it was very clear to me. My daughter was entering and he wasn't a teacher, he wasn't a professor, but still someone that did their master's degree. And the way he thought, but then his mindset, which is important, his mindset of how he thought already. And then he turned around, because I think we must have had a reaction, facial. I have a hard time hiding my facial reactions. And then he turned to my daughter and he says, no, honestly, I hope you do, but most of us don't. And I found that really interesting. And I told my daughter, it's because I believe that, and it's not being naive, and I know a lot of people will believe that, but I think it's people quit. People quit and already have that mindset. And there's lots of people making money. There's lots of people selling, and it can be used in so many other things, part of a career with so many other attachment. But then people think of a job and a certain thing, a security blanket, but we are creators. We get to create it, and who knows how you can create it. And I told her, I said, like most things, most people quit. Even when you look at university, people in the first year, they have, in a creative writing, for example, they were explaining that per classes, they're fairly small. That's part of the reason it's really hard to get into. They keep it at 50, 55 students, okay? But then as the third and fourth year, it's almost half of it leave. And I find it so interesting that it doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter what it is. Most people quit. They don't continue surviving, and their mindset isn't there. And I find it very interesting that a university, I believe in theory, I believe in pushing and being educated, but why we're not teaching about the mindset? Why we're not teaching about education, how to run the business in those creative fields? And that's where I have a little bit of a hard time with the universities. Now, I think there's a change that needs to happen. I think to have a successful society, community, if you really want to mark yourself differently as a university, is wonderful, the theories and the art and the craft and all of that. But why can't we have another side, at least give the option to people that want to enter those fields, give them a system, a mindset, in an entrepreneurship way of functioning for those careers. And please, if any of you that are in charge in those departments or anything, think about it. So if not, you as a responsibility for yourself, because there is a self responsibility, and maybe they can't give this to us. But I remember for myself, I took entrepreneurship course on a side outside of university after my degree, after everything, but as a free course of women in entrepreneurship. And then from reading and doing other things, but actually in my multi-level marketing right now that I do on the side that I absolutely love, it's one of the thing is setting up people, because it's an entrepreneurship course while you're creating money. And I really believe that everyone that doesn't have an entrepreneur, I believe that people that are interested, that wants to create a security, or to be able to pay their finance, to be able to create their art without thinking, is such a beautiful way to do it, because we get to create a where all of our expenses are paid. But then, because in the multi-level marketing, we're talking about residual income, which that means we can create a way that all your bills are paid. But that wasn't my conversation. My conversation was really what I loved the most and what I got the most about it. It's not the financial part, which, it is there, but it's not that. It's really that it's your mindset, the way of working, the way of being, not quitting, being consistent, believing and going for it. And no matter what walls or jump or things you have to do, and whatever your journey is your journey. So I just want to share this, because it's one thing. When I went to university when I was younger, and I thought, oh my God, all those people are smarter than me because they're teaching. But then the mindset of someone that did the university, and it's someone amazing, but it's just a mindset in regards of business, building what you really want to do and believing, that really, I really noticed that. And it was a big conversation I got to have with my daughter after, and she noticed it. And she goes, but why do people do that? I said, because most people quit.